What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking all about succession planning. I'm really excited about it. I hope you're going to enjoy it. So let's go. So succession planning, what is it first off? Succession planning is the process of planting things in stages so that you have a prolonged harvest all season long or through a particular season. And it also offers security in case something happens to your first crops, that your future crops won't be affected, hopefully. It also allows you to have, instead of a rush of produce all at once that can lead to waste, it offers you time to consume the vegetables that you're harvesting because they are obviously, they do have an expiration date. So it's living produce, meaning that if it's not consumed or preserved, it's going to go bad. And so oftentimes people get overwhelmed by this. And so succession planning is a solution to that problem. Now, how do we succession plant is the next question people always ask. Well, it depends on the crop you're growing, and it always depends on a couple factors. It depends on how fast the crop matures, and it also depends on how fast or how long the season is for that crop. So if you're growing something that is a quick maturing crop like lettuce, and its seasons are spring and fall, you want to make sure that you plan a window of time, say 30 to 50 days. You can also go by just how long your lettuce has lasted in the past. If it's your first time growing lettuce, I typically say that my lettuce will stay good growing conditions for about 60 to 70 days. Since lettuce takes about 35 days to mature, I can say that I have a window of about two full maturity dates for lettuce. But that's not really great enough for me. That means I could plant a seedling in the ground, let it get fully mature, harvest that plant, and then plant another seedling in its place. That's a form of succession planning, but it's a very long drawn out succession. What I like to do is called stair-step succession. That means that when I plant a crop, I'm going to plant my seeds, let's say, just as a rough example, the 1st of April. I'll plant my crops the 1st of April, my lettuce seedlings, and then about 5 days later, I'll plant another succession of lettuce, but only about 10% for my lettuce. So if I have 10 rows, I'm going to plant one row April 1st. In about 4 or 5 days, I'm going to plant another row of lettuce. And that means that as my lettuce is growing up, I can also harvest the stuff that's getting older, that's getting more mature, and then I can come back and I can harvest the next row of lettuce as that matures. And that way my lettuce is at the same stage at any given time during the growing season. And then what I can do is once I get to the very end of the row, I can also go back and succession plant by taking out the old lettuce that's gone bad and reseed, because I have about 70 days. And that's where knowing your maturity dates going into planting really helps. Because if I have a fully mature lettuce plant in about 35 days, I know that if I can stagger out my bed over the course of 35 days, that I can then go back and I'm going to get another whole succession from my bed, meaning I'm going to get double the amount of production out of my bed. So that really helps with something like lettuce. It also really helps with something like radishes that's very fast maturing and it has a very short window of time. Now let's go talk about something that has a longer span for maturity, but a very short window of time. That crop is corn. Corn has a very long maturity date in comparison to other crops in the garden, obviously. It's about 80 to 85 days. But it has a very short window of opportunity for you to get good tasting corn. That's because corn needs very hot temperatures to grow. And so you don't want to grow corn all season long, because if you start corn, let's say the 1st of April, the soil is going to be too cold and you're not going to have good germination. Meaning you have to wait till around June to start your corn. We started our corn June 1st. And that means that when you start your corn June 1st, you have 85 days till that corn actually comes to fruition. But because 85 days takes up a lot of the growing season, we can't have it running into fall where it gets colder again. So what we do is we stagger it we're not succession planting this year because we're growing in raised beds. But if we had more space, like up at the cottage garden, what we do is we succession plant 25% of the crops. So we take 25% of the given space that we're going to grow corn, and we plant 25% of the corn June 1st. Then we wait 10 days and we succession plant another 25%. We wait 10 more days and we succession plant the next 25%. And then at the end of another 10 days, we plant the final 25%. That means over the course of 40 days, we've gotten our whole bed planted. And that means that in a normal growing season, around 100 to 120 days, we're going to have corn growing and maturing all through those days of the growing season. And that really helps a gardener to not have just a flush of corn all at once, or if something happens in the beginning of the season or the end of the season, we do have a buffer that can allow you to still get a harvest, which really does help. Now let's talk about something that you do not want to succession plant, that we are always asked how to succession plant. And that plant is onions. You do not want to succession plant any form of allium, whether it is garlic, whether it is shallots, or whether it is onions. You do not, and I repeat, never want to succession plant an allium. Alliums, they bulb based on photosensitivity. The daylight actually allows them to bulb, meaning that if you plant your crops in the very beginning of the season, which we do and you're suggested to do because they have about 110 days to maturity, if you go back and plant, let's say in 30 days, well, when that crop is growing, it's not going to get to full maturity before the daylight hours begin to decrease. After the summer solstice, the hours of sunlight in a day become less and less. And that means that these crops will notice that, and they begin to enter a bulbing cycle, meaning you're going to have smaller bulbs or no bulbs at all if you wait. And that's specifically why when you are growing onions, you want to grow something like a short day or a long day onion based on your region, because that dictates how long the days are. And so if you plant, let's say a short day onion in a long day zone, the same thing is going to happen as planting a long day onion 30 or 40 days past when a long day onion should have been planted. So that really does play into how successful your onion harvest will be. And that's why I always suggest never to ever succession plant onions. Now the next crop I wanted to talk about, strawberries. Strawberries fall under the succession planting group of ripening period. So there's a lot of fruits that are like apples, pears, peaches, cherries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. A lot of fruits pretty much have a ripening period, and that tells you when they're going to be ripe. So these are almost always perennials, and they're going to be things that will typically be early, late, or all season. And so with strawberries, we have things like early, June bearing, ever bearing, and late. And that tells you when you're expecting to get a harvest. You have early peaches and late peaches. You have early season apples, mid-season apples, and late season apples. You also have early season, mid-season, and late season pears. So just keep that in mind, that when you're growing something, mixing up those early and late season varieties will help you get a staggered harvest all season long rather than everything all at once. So in our garden, we have a combination of June bearing and ever bearing. That's just what we decided to grow, but we could have very well done just half June bearing and maybe some late bearing and some ever bearing. We could have done a combination of 3 or 4 of the different varieties. It's just what we found works best for us, because we find that in our climate, growing a June bearing and an ever bearing allows us to have a prolonged harvest all season long, still while giving us the best growing conditions for these crops, because after a certain point it gets too hot for growing strawberries, and the strawberries don't fruit very well in the very hot summer once it gets into like late July. So to have a crop that is like a late bearing strawberry wouldn't do us any good. But for someone that lives in a cooler climate, a late bearing strawberry might be better than, let's say, like an ever bearing or a June bearing, where you might still have frost or really cold temperatures. So that's where it's really nice to be able to cater it to your growing style. But knowing these things really does help to succession plant to allow you to have a more prolonged harvest, which means more success in the garden. Now, another crop that not a lot of people think about succession planting, unless of course you're maybe a market gardener, Curtis Stone, if you're watching. If you have not yet checked out Curtis Stone's channel, make sure to check out The Urban Farmer. Curtis Stone is an awesome guy, and a guy I take a lot of tips from when it comes to succession planting, because he's pretty much the master at it. And one of the ones that I found really interesting was when he talked about succession planting tomatoes. So tomatoes are ones that not a lot of people think because they typically plant in the beginning of the season and they grow it. However, tomatoes come in the form of early season tomatoes, mid-season tomatoes, and late season tomatoes. Late season tomatoes can also be things like a determinate that has a very determined growing season that you just grow later in the year. So let's say you're growing something early season, like maybe an early girl that has about 50 days to maturity. You have 100 days in your growing season. That means you can plant an early girl, grow it to full maturity, harvest all the tomatoes, and have a seedling ready to go in the ground. As soon as that plant ripens all of its fruit and you harvest everything, you can plant another plant in the ground and have a late season harvest. Or what you can do is grow a late season tomato like a beefsteak that takes around 80 to 100 days to mature, and you have an early season tomato like a cherry tomato that takes maybe about 50 to 60 days to mature. And that means that over the course of that growing season, yes, you have varying shapes and sizes of tomatoes, but you're guaranteed to get a big flush of fruit at different times rather than all at once. I will post links to Curtis Stone's channel in the description box below because I think on the topic of succession planning, he does a far better job of really showing you how to do it, but it is more of a market gardening system that he applies. So scale it down to your garden and the information will still apply, and it's great. And that's where I've pulled a lot of my information from learning as a gardener as well, and learning how to grow more food in less space. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. We'll catch you all later. See ya.